So Dezaray Johnson, you work for the Small Business Development Center, which is affiliated with Angelo State. And for those who don't know about the SBDC, talk about its mission and how you seek to achieve that mission.
Yeah, perfect. So the SBDC is just a great organization that a lot of people should utilize. So our mission is to foster small business success in the 10 counties that we serve. So we serve San Angelo and the surrounding 9 counties, and we actually travel to the rural areas, and we provide confidential, one-on-one, no-cost advising services to small business and entrepreneurs, and we also provide training as well.
And so I want to really underscore the no-cost part. So someone who's looking to start a business can come to you guys and say, what do I need to do? And you will walk them through that process, and it won't cost them a cent.
Not a cent. So we are funded through federal and state tax dollars. So we serve for-profit businesses, and you're right, they can come to us whether they have an idea or they're in the middle of a business start or they've been in business for 10 years and they're looking to expand or improve operations. So we address each client individually, their needs, figure out what they're looking to accomplish, and we just work task by task to move them through that list.
So you joined the SBDC as a graduate assistant as you were working toward your master's degree in communications at Angelo State, and then you hired on full-time after you graduated. What did you like initially about the work of the SBDC?
Well, most of it was the training program. So when I started as a graduate student, I had done a lot of other things in the way of event planning, and that's really kind of something that I've always enjoyed, and I never set out to college thinking like, oh, this is going to be where I end up. But I love planning events. I love the organized chaos of it, you know, the unexpected, and being able to put something together and it runs smoothly and do what it needs to do. So I was in nonprofit event planning. I had done residential programs planning when I was in college, and so when this opportunity came up to kind of learn a little bit more about business and the business world, I was all for it. So I was hired on as a graduate assistant, and they just couldn't get rid of me.
And so you've been there for 4 years now. Mm-hmm. Has your enjoyment of the job sort of evolved? Do you like different things about the job now than you did when you initially started?
Yes, so I still maintain our training program, but we have a great graduate assistant program. So we've been able to hire on more students through the College of Business and other colleges at ASU that are in their graduate program. So they really help support the training program, which allows me to spend more time evolving as a business advisor. And so I now hold a Certified Business Advisor 2 certificate, which is a network certification program that we do through the Small Business Development Center. And it's really allowed me to just open up and work with clients. And so whether I'm teaching a class and I'm working with 20 people at once or working one-on-one with someone, at the end of the day, it's all driving them towards their goals.
Now, you segued perfectly into what I wanted to ask you about next, which was that transition from, overseeing the SBDC's marketing efforts to then serving as a training coordinator to then becoming a certified business advisor. Why did you want to take that last step to becoming a certified business advisor?
I think maybe it's just to get in the game. It's really neat to see, we have such a great team at the SBDC, and to hear other business advisors talk about how they've impacted small business owners, or to have a client come up to me after a training event and say, such and such advisor was so amazing, they helped with so much, they did so much. And so it's really personal gratification. I mean, to be able to give back to those small businesses. And, sometimes some of the things that we see day to day as business advisors are huge hurdles for those small business entrepreneurs, maybe just because they don't have that knowledge. And so to be able to share that with them is huge and just help them out so much. So I would say it was really to advance my career, but to be able to work with people one-on-one. And honestly, because my team supported me, Dave and Peggy had a lot of trust in me, and they encouraged me and said, you can do this, you can be a business advisor. You have you definitely can. So it was nice to have that support of the team.
Did you have doubts about that? Because it is kind of a leap from what your background was communications. Were you intimidated at all by that?
Yes, I was. And in fact, I tell clients that sometimes, especially when they're struggling with that leap of becoming a business owner. You know, I kind of say, like, I never thought I'd be here advising businesses, but communications, I think, is such a strong base for anything that you want to do. I advise a student group on campus, and I pitch communications all the time for those students that don't really know what they want to do yet in life, because I think it just gives you that really strong base level. And so there's definitely been a learning curve for me transitioning into a business advisor, but I think having that communication background, and I graduated with a specialization in advertising and public relations, so I was kind of on that advertising track to begin with. So that's kind of how I segued into becoming a business advisor. At first, I just kind of advised on the marketing side, the advertising, just helping them kind of once they were beyond that initial startup phase. I was kind of a handoff. And so now it's really nice, as I've grown my skills, that I can help businesses from the ground up, which is really kind of interesting.
Of course, you were no stranger to small businesses. Talk about the Johnson Pest Control empire there in Junction, Texas.
Yes, what a great word, empire. So, and Dave gives me credit for this a lot too, but you don't realize it when you grow up in a family business, how much you learn and how much it's just intriguing to talk about it, and to be able to kind of come full circle and come from, you know, playing office when I was a tiny kid. You know, I had my own desk in the office, and I had my own sticky notes, my own set of pins. I had my little desk, and then, you know, as I grew up, by the time I was in, you know, high school, I was answering the phone and helping process tickets. And so to now be able to come back as an advisor and help them build out their marketing campaign and really kind of advise, and for my grandpa to kind of go, okay, well, like, maybe she's gone off to college and learned a few things. Like, it's really nice to be able to work with them and just understand their world a little bit better as well.
So to be clear, now your grandparents who own the family business are now one of your SBDC clients.
Yep. Yeah.
So what's it like working with them in that sort of dynamic?
I love it. You know, they started working with one of our business advisors, Peggy, and because I said, hey, I started this new job, and this is this amazing free service, and y'all need this. And at the time, they were looking at expanding and moving from, you know, it's a service-based business, so they had a home office. And so they were looking at expanding and purchasing a building on Main Street and building out. So it was really nice to see them work with Peggy and have that great connection. And then over time, as I learned more and became more stable in my training at the SBDC, I was able to kind of come back in and say, okay, well, let's try this or let's do this. And so now it's, you know, those family night conversations quickly turn to business, and we're talking about improving it always. So.
And not only that, but you've now inherited the territory of Junction, which is where you grew up.
Yes.
So what's it like to be helping your neighbors that you grew up with improve their businesses?
Yeah, it's amazing. You know, we have a wide variety of industries, so different clients. One of the clients that I work with has a restaurant in Junction, and he was one of my T-ball coaches. So it's just interesting to see that dynamic. And there's also kind of it's nice to be familiar with those folks, but as I introduce myself in a new light, in a new perspective, it's really kind of interesting to see how they kind of, oh, okay, yeah, you can help with that, or, you know, things like that. So it's really nice to be in that environment and be able to help my family and help other small businesses in Junction and Menard. I cover Menard, which obviously I'm not as familiar with the folks there, but they're also a great group of people working a lot with their industrial corporation. And so it's just really amazing to get out and see some of the small differences that make such huge impacts in small business owners' lives.
Of course, there are a lot of challenges and hurdles that someone must overcome in order to start a new business. What do you think is perhaps the biggest challenge for most people, maybe at least in their minds, when it comes to starting a new enterprise?
Yeah, I think sometimes it's just overwhelming. You know, when we think about starting a business, we think about whatever the technical product is or service that we're going to provide. You know, I know how to make X, Y, Z. I'm going to be able to sell this, and I want to turn this into a business. And so as a small business owner, we focus on that. And so as an SBDC advisor, we can come in and help them put together all of the things that are in the peripheral of that, right? So talking about bookkeeping, talking about advertising, talking about the legality of it. You know, there's just a lot of different things that go into starting a business. And so I think as we start to uncover some of those things with small business owners, they tend to get overwhelmed, which, right so. And so we just try to tackle everything step by step and work through them with each project and get them to where they need to be.
Give us a success story. Talk about one of your clients that you feel like you've been able to help in a meaningful way.
Yeah, so I'm going to reference back to HR Onboarding Solutions. They are a great client that I had. They became a client through a personal connection through one of the student groups that I advise on campus. So I met Brent Jameson, and he had a technology company, and he said, you know, I've been working on this for a while, but I'm really ready to grow it. And I think the business plan competition that the City of San Angelo Development Corporation and the SBDC and College of Business at ASU come together to host each year, he said, I think this is going to be a great thing for me. And so we worked together with Brent and his student team to put a business plan together for that competition, and he won first place. So it was really great to see that very specific recognition of, you know, putting together a quality business plan, but then also over time to see Brent grow his company from himself to 2 student employees to now a team of 5 to 6 people. So it's really great to see that evolution.
So winning that business plan competition, you may have to remind me, was the grand prize like $25,000 or?
Yes, yeah, I think that year it was, and then this recent year they've even upped it. So, you know, the more interest we have, the more that strengthens the partnership with the City of San Angelo Development Corporation, the more we're able to provide small businesses.
So you must have felt just a sense of pride that it was one of your clients that won the competition.
Yeah, there might have been a little bit of a friendly competition in the office, but it's great because they're all winning. You know, even the participants that, and I had other clients that didn't progress as far, and in other years that maybe haven't won but have competed. But it's nice because even if they don't win the competition, that's hard for them. That's a hard hurdle for them to overcome. But that's kind of business ownership as well, is kind of being faced with those challenges. But at the end of the day, we know that they walk away with a quality plan. And so they're able to take that plan and maybe get traditional funding from a commercial lender or something like that. So it's a great opportunity to just walk them through that process and get them to where they need to be.
Now, you told me before we turned on the cameras that a lot of your clients ask you, why haven't you started your own business? What do you tell them?
Yeah, so I try to say it without scaring them or overwhelming them, but owning a business is a lot of hard work. And, you know, honestly, if I started my own business, it would probably be some kind of marketing firm. I love advertising and working with clients, but it would be very different. You know, working with somebody on one project or having one advertising client is very different than working at the SBDC. At the SBDC, I get to be an expert in all kinds of businesses, everything from oil field to restaurants to service-based businesses, and I have a wide variety of clients. And if I was not able to offer my services for free through the SBDC, then I wouldn't be able to get to work with all the amazing clients that I do. So it's really nice to be able to have this umbrella of and this program of the SBDC to kind of facilitate that.
Do you think your clients realize, most of them, how consuming that owning your own business is, particularly in the beginning?
Yeah, I would say probably not. They may have like an idea of it, but it's a commitment. You know, it's something that you are committing to for the life of that business, and nobody's going to run your business better than you are, right? Your passion, your drive, and so it's important to make that commitment.
You are also involved in a number of professional organizations, including the American Advertising Federation, Young Professionals of San Angelo, and Leadership San Angelo. Why have you felt compelled to engage in those sort of professional organizations?
I think it's a great opportunity to learn and to network and to be around others in the industry. So, you know, I'm a part of so many things, and each organization, you know, I may attend more stuff in one rather than another, you know, versus our professional-based organizations versus social organizations. So you don't necessarily have to give all of your time, but it's important to be a part of those groups because you're going to learn things that you never would if you just didn't participate. So it's great. I recently joined Texas Business Women, and you know, their mission, I think it goes in line with the SBDC. So that's a natural, why is Dezaray not doing this? So we're doing that. And it's great to kind of see and be able to help, and then also just introduce, so it's a way for me to market our services at the SBDC. But honestly, I wouldn't do it if I didn't enjoy it. And so I enjoy going and meeting new people and hearing different stories, and maybe those are success stories, maybe those are challenges, but you can learn from people when you least expect it.
You are also actively involved in the Junior League. What about the civic work that the Junior League engages in moves you?
Oh, I love the Junior League. So when I was in college, I was in, here at ASU, I was Delta Zeta, and after I graduated, I started working with them as an advisor. And it was really nice to be able to engage with them on that level, but I was missing kind of the social aspect of that, right? So Junior League was a great option for me because it gives you the opportunity to have that sisterhood in the community, but also they just do so many great things. When I was first introduced to Junior League, I was in college and I was volunteering for a class. I was at the Boys and Girls Club, and I was volunteering there, and these wonderful women came in with boxes, hundreds of coats, and we got to help as volunteers at the Boys and Girls Club fit out all these children with brand new coats for the winter. And I was just amazed that this organization had taken the time and the effort to raise money to do that. And so now that I'm a member, I get to, you know, a few years later, I get to take part in that and go and experience that and help to host the events that raise that money to be able to provide to those children and other community service projects in the area.
Dezaray, how do you define leadership?
I define leadership, I would say, as being able to empower others to be their best selves. You know, we can't do it on our own. Nobody can. And so a true leader is going to pull out those great things about those individuals and, you know, bring their team together to do what they need to do, and you know, and not to be afraid of other people's skill sets. I think that that's a challenge that a lot of leaders have. You know, we want to be great and we want to be the best, but at the end of the day, sometimes somebody else is better, and being able to recognize that and let them run with that is, I think, a huge leadership quality.
Is there a particular leader who has inspired or shaped you?
This is, I think, the hardest question, because I think it starts from day one. You know, I think everybody gives you a little bit of something, right? Whether that's a positive trait or a negative trait that you say, you know, hey, I'm going to store that away and maybe not do that in the future. But, you know, I think my parents are probably great leaders in that they taught me that I can do whatever I want. And that brought me to San Angelo, which introduced me to a whole host of professional leaders who have given me the skills that I need to get where I am. And so I really just attribute a lot of it to the SBDC team. Dave has done a great job of being our leader at the team and showing us and giving me something to aspire to be. So.
You are our youngest 20 under 40 honoree this year. So I'd like you to make a pitch to other young women about why they should engage more fully in their careers and in their community.
That's such a great question. I think the best thing that I could say would be to just go for it. I think we hold our own selves back. We say we're not good enough to do that, or we can't do that, or more importantly, we don't know how to do that. But we are what we want to be, and we can be anything. And you know, I love where I'm at the SBDC, but that's not, you know, I still have goals. I'm seeking out additional certifications. I'm taking on more responsibility. I just love it, and I think that the best thing is to not be overwhelmed. You don't have to be a great leader and be involved in all these things. Like, those things don't necessarily correlate. But for me personally, I know that being around and hanging out with people socially, professionally, that I admire and that I look up to and I see leadership qualities in, I know that that has made me a better person.
Dezaray Johnson, it's a huge honor to be one of the 20 under 40.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thanks so much.